Please, you have to help me. It's not safe here.
It started on a quiet afternoon at a roadside diner off Route 47, the kind of place truckers, travelers, and lost souls stopped for a warm meal and a moment of peace. The neon sign outside flickered weakly, spelling out Maggie's Diner, though half the letters had burned out. Inside, a handful of customers sat at cracked vinyl booths, sipping coffee that had probably been reheated one too many times. But for the regulars, it wasn't the food that kept them coming back, it was the waitress. Her name was Emily. She was young, no older than 26, with tired eyes that carried stories she never told. Every customer noticed the same thing: she limped. Each step she took seemed to cost her something. Yet she never complained. She smiled through the pain, balancing trays with quiet grace, serving meals with the kind of warmth that made strangers feel at home. But on this day, something different happened, something that would change her life forever. Outside, a group of bikers pulled up, engines rumbling like thunder. The customers in the diner fell silent as they watched the men in black leather jackets walk in, members of a motorcycle club known as the Iron Souls. Their reputation preceded them: loud, intimidating, but loyal to each other to the bone. The leader, a grizzled man named Hawk, with gray streaks in his beard and deep lines carved into his face, walked up to the counter. "Coffee." "Black," he said, his voice rough like gravel. Emily smiled, though she looked nervous. "Coming right up," she replied softly, wincing slightly as she turned away. Hawk noticed the limp immediately. He didn't say anything at first, but his eyes followed her every step. She moved like someone trying to hide her pain, as if she didn't want anyone to see weakness. When Emily brought the coffee, Hawk thanked her politely, something that surprised everyone watching. But what caught his attention wasn't just her limp, it was the bruise just barely visible under her sleeve. "You okay, miss?" he asked, his tone more gentle now. Emily froze for a second. "Oh, yeah. Just clumsy, I guess," she said, forcing a smile before hurrying away. Hawk exchanged glances with his brothers. They had seen that look before, fear wrapped in politeness. They'd been around long enough to know what it meant. Hours passed. The bikers stayed, chatting quietly, watching as Emily continued working. When her shift ended, they noticed a man waiting outside, leaning against an old pickup truck, cigarette hanging from his lips, arms crossed. The moment Emily stepped out, his face twisted with anger. The bikers watched as he grabbed her arm roughly and said something they couldn't hear. She winced, nodded quickly, and tried to calm him down. Hawk's jaw tightened. That was enough. He stood up, motioned for his brothers to stay back, and walked out calmly. "Everything all right here, ma'am?" he asked, his voice deep and firm. The man turned, glaring. "Ain't your business, old man." Hawk smirked slightly. "It is when someone's scaring a lady who's just trying to do her job." The man puffed his chest, but when the rest of the Iron Souls stepped outside, a wall of leather, tattoos, and silent strength, his confidence melted. Emily's eyes filled with tears, but she shook her head quickly, whispering, "Please, don't make it worse." Hawk looked at her gently. "We won't. But you don't have to keep living like this, sweetheart." The man backed off, muttering threats as he drove away. Hawk turned back to Emily, his voice soft now. "You got somewhere safe to go?" She shook her head. "It's just me. He's been like this for months. I can't leave, I don't have money, nowhere to stay." Hawk sighed deeply. "You're not alone anymore." The next day, the Iron Souls came back, but not for coffee. They came with purpose. While a few of them worked on repairing her car that had been sitting broken behind the diner, others helped her boss set up a small fundraiser. Within hours, truckers, locals, and travelers chipped in after hearing Emily's story. Hawk made sure every dollar went straight to her, enough to get her an apartment and a fresh start. When her ex tried showing up again, he found the entire Iron Souls crew waiting for him. Hawk stood in front, arms crossed, ice cold. "She's under our protection now," he said. "You ever show your face here again, we'll make sure you regret it." The man left and never came back. Days turned into weeks. Emily's limp slowly healed with proper treatment. The pain in her eyes faded too. She started smiling again, not the fake kind she used at work, but a real, bright smile that reached her heart. She found a small apartment nearby and began studying part-time to become a nurse. Hawk and his crew stopped by often, not as protectors anymore, but as friends. One evening, months later, she hosted a small dinner for the Iron Souls at her new place. "You guys saved my life," she said quietly, tears welling up. "You didn't even know me, but you stood up when no one else would. I'll never forget that." Hawk raised his glass of soda. He hadn't touched alcohol since losing his brother years ago. "You saved yourself, kid. We just reminded you that you deserved better." The group laughed, clinked glasses, and for the first time, Emily felt like she truly belonged somewhere. At the end of the story, the camera slowly zooms in on her smiling face, stronger, braver, free. A voice speaks softly to the viewers. Sometimes, heroes don't wear badges or capes. Sometimes, they ride motorcycles and carry hearts bigger than their engines. If you believe kindness and courage still exist in this world, hit that like button and subscribe, because stories like this remind us all that compassion is louder than fear. The screen fades to black with a single line appearing: "The strongest souls are the ones who've known pain and chose to protect others anyway."